What is good, my Pack Rats? Pac-Man Case here. Today, guys, we are going over my Xbox 360 controller collection. Let's do it.
That's what I expected.
Pack Rats, when the Xbox 360 launched, it came out with the original white console, and attached to that was the original wireless Xbox 360 controller, which was white. It did have some gray accents to it on the joysticks as well as the D-pad, and its underside also had kind of a gray plastic tone to it. It also has this brushed metal on all of its original controllers for the center Xbox button. So very common controller, but this is the first one in the collection, and they just get crazier from here. So let's keep going. Guys, next up is the black controller, very similar to the white one, just with the shell swap. Still had the gray underside as well as the joysticks and D-pad. Another one that is very, very common in the Xbox 360, but these two I would say most people had for the original launch consoles of the 360 were either this original black or the white one. Let's go to a new one. And for my next trick, we'll move on to some colors here. This is known as the Resident Evil Red 360 wireless controller. This one had black bumpers and trigger buttons, as well as a black underside, and then black joysticks and a D-pad. Everything else was similar, except the back and start buttons were also red on this controller. And I probably should have cleaned it for the video because I've got sticker residue and it's dusty. Sorry about that, but you get the point. Let's keep going. Next up, Xbox 360 started to throw some fun colors at us a couple years after launch, and this one is the pink Xbox 360 controller. I truly hate this color. It is very flesh toned. It's not a very vibrant, bright pink. I think I picked this one up at a thrift store. The back and start buttons are also pink. They also have the bumper buttons and triggers are also pink on this controller. There's supposed to be a pink back, but for some reason I don't have it on mine. And then they kept it with the gray undertone and the gray joysticks and D-pad on the pink controller. They played around with some colors during this time. And the other one that came out was a blue version. So they had a pink, a blue, and I think a couple other colors, and some that did not come out in the US. I do really like the blue color on this one. Again, stayed with that gray accent colors around the controller, but this is still to this day one of my favorite looks on the controllers is the blue Xbox 360 controller. After that, they made some interesting changes to what they call their S controllers. Check these out. Alright guys, next up was Xbox's S controller line, and they changed these up just subtly, but the first one is the white S controller on the 360. The changes on this was that it's a little bit lighter of a gray on the joysticks as well as the D-pad. They eliminated the bottom gray plate, and then they also added a couple other features. They changed the center logo to more of a chrome rather than a brushed metal, and then they also added the Xbox 360 logo to the top of the controller. And you'll notice those changes on this. They made a white version, and then they also made a black version, which is all black. No more of the gray. The joysticks are black, D-pad is black. It's black all the way through the controller, and then also has that chrome center button. So those two were part of the S controller series in the collection. These next ones are the transformation controllers, and you know that they're transformation controllers because it's a chrome D-pad that actually pops out and you can twist it to change its directional from, I think, 8-way up to 16-way. To do that, you just twist it up. To change it to 8, go back to 16 by twisting the D-pad back the other way. They also changed the grip on the joysticks. There's no longer the 4 little tread points. Now it's a circle. Most people actually don't like this as much as the original S controllers, but it is still a nice controller. I like the transitional D-pad because by transforming this, it helps you in fighting games or something that uses the D-pad where you don't want to make a mistake to go diagonally, that's where these controllers are great. I have a black one and I also have a silver version, and the silver has always been my preferred controller to play with. So you can search for these guys as the transformation controllers, which are pretty neat. Xbox next came at us with some chrome lines, which had a bunch of different colors. I myself have a gold and a blue one, but the gold one is actually titled the C3PO controller. That one was in a special edition Xbox that was an R2-D2 console, which I think was the only way you were able to get this controller, was bundled with it. Somehow I always come across these guys, but never the console. So one day I will find you. They then came out with some other colors. I said I already have blue. That one looks pretty similar to the gold look, but just with a shell swap. So those ones are cool, still transformation D-pads, but I don't often use these controllers as much as I do the original transformation controller on the gray. These next ones up are part of the Halo controller lines. For some reason, I can't find my original Halo 3 controller, which is just a green color, the same thing as Master Chief's armor. They also came out with a Halo 3 ODST Xbox 360 controller. This one is actually not the transformation or the S controller, as it has the original brushed metal, just like the first controllers I showed you, but this one is part of the special edition of the ODST. And then they also had a Halo 4 special edition, which is a translucent blue UNSC controller. This one is a transformation controller, as well as the tread change on the joysticks. This one that I found at a thrift store is really used. The joysticks are pretty much toast now on it, but it is always fun to find this stuff. I only have a couple more, so let's finish this out. I had to track this one down. It's another transformation controller, which is a special edition Walmart exclusive, which was a camo controller. I don't know how many of these actually sold or how rare they were. Again, I come across this stuff at a thrift store every now and again and pick it up. In total, Xbox made roughly about 30 different controller variants on the 360, and I only have about 15 of them, so I think there's 15 more I'm still searching for. Some of them were overseas, some of them were ones that you could only get if you're part of a development team, some of them, like a Simpsons controller, was only made like 99 or like 100 of them, so getting your hands on some of that stuff is difficult, but they had some of these exclusive controllers that came to retail stores such as Walmart, which this one was a camo controller. Last up is the Gears of War Special Edition. This controller is a dark red. The faceplate has the Gears of War logo on it. It is a transformation controller, but they did remove the tread off of it and gave you those 4 friction points again, which is really nice for some people since they don't like the original round curvature on it. But this guy is very, very cool. It's nice to have in the collection. And if you guys are fans of Gears of War, let me know in the comment. I'm interested to know because I know they've made some other special edition controllers since the 360 as well. Alright guys, that is my Xbox 360 controller collection. I never intended on collecting the Xbox 360 controller variants, but somehow, out in the wild as I've been collecting, I end up just stumbling on them, and I cannot stop at this point. Having 15 makes me want to have the full 30 set. So if you like what I got going on and you like my silly content, make sure to hit that subscribe button, guys. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you know when I make new videos. And we will be off to the next Pac-Man creation. Everybody take care until next time. Bye.